Hi everybody, just a wee update for the garden. The hydrangeas has all been out and they're fairly grew bigger this year, and this big one here is one of my favourite things. We bought a new Peony Rose. We managed to get to a show down at Malvern just the other week there, so we bought some stuff, and this is Scrum Deadly Umptious Peony Rose. We managed to pick up this, so I was maybe going to try and take some cuttings because I've watched a bit on YouTube, so I'll maybe try and do that. But you can see the hydrangea flowers is really well. I'm laughing because it was beautiful sunshine 5 minutes ago and I decided to do a bit of filming. The asters is kind of going, some of them's going over, and these wee chrysanthemum pom-poms I was expecting more than they were, but at least they've grew. I've got a nice wee hanging basket with the lobelia still flowering in September. So some of the plants we picked up at Malvern was some grasses. I did grow some for seed last year, so decided to buy another couple at the show and another couple of things there. We'll still to find a space for, and I've picked up a couple of clematises there, reduced, and Morrison's, a purpley one and a purpley one. Two purpley ones. They're both different kinds. So my Safi Rose grew since I covered that sort of bulb. I always thought it was supposed to keep that bit out of the soil, and it looked like it had died back, so I covered it over and it's grew really well. So most of the stuff I let go to seed, and then I'll cut it back and then take out what ones I don't want. But a lot of stuff I'll just leave to grow. And the enchilada things, enchias, they're still flowering, and that's more of the chrysanthemums down there. And we picked up this big couple of tall flowers. This bit's getting work on after. I'm definitely going to do it, but you can see the rhododendron starting to get buds on it, and hopefully I've got a magnolia tree there in the back. It's only flowered once. I've had it for about 12 years maybe now, because I had it in a pot at my last house. So I'm hoping it's going to flower again in February or March, whenever they flower. And we just found out this hasn't done very great, but it's actually looking quite good at the moment. But I'm going to move that because the man said it's best in the shade, so I will do that. And the roses will get cut back, but that's one of the ones I grew for cutting last year, and hopefully next year will be over this arch. And the wisteria actually dying back now, but didn't flower, but it's doing alright, and I'll get that. I love the colour of this bush there, but I'm not sure what it is. Just some stuff. I'm moving stuff around at the minute, which is what I tend to be doing. But these grasses were really pretty, like flexy gold, so I'll definitely be growing more of them. And I'm digging this bit out. I'll just put that over there to stop the cat from getting in there and digging. There's lots of stuff the same, so I've dug a lot out and potted it on, and I'll share some with friends at work, and put some in the works garden when we start doing that. I've kind of got lots of holding areas at the minute, because usually you grow too much stuff and then end up with all this stuff. So a lot of this will be going, and that's one of the grasses we got at the show, which I actually managed to split one of them, and I've got about 5 plants, so that's quite good from one plant. And that's a hydrangea. It's there. It's never flowered, but it was very small when I got it, so maybe next year. And this is called Red Angel's Trumpet. It's a shrub, so that'll be going into the polytunnel. But I've got a few of them I grew for seed. Well, you can see the slugs. I've had slug pellet down, and you name it, I've tried to do it, and it's not deterring them. And I've got a few things. These are a lot of stuff that's going into the garden. The rutabaga, the chrysanthemums. And this was another thing, this yellow. It was supposed to be I was expecting it to be a big yellow ball, but it was tiny, so it's quite disappointing. And I've grew from the Angelica I had at the front, like loads of seeds. I've got to be, I didn't expect so many to germinate, but I've got about 4 trees here, and a tree down the back, so if any of my workmates or work will get some of them. But this is just kind of like a ran out of space kind of idea, and everything's just been sort of flung in here. Wee salt tree, it's doing really well. That'll get potted on next year, and we're just, in case of going into lockdown again, we've been getting the compost because we don't want to be left with no compost, so that'll be kept in the greenhouse, and hopefully we don't need it in the bird feeder to fill up the bird feeders. So this area, poppies have been a mixture of all different kinds, have been pretty stunning, and that's a lobelia. It's an everlasting one, it comes back every year, so I'll let that just seed. And the seed has been really amazing this year. At the end of the season I'll put a layer of some kind of like mushroom compost or something to put some goodness back into the garden. And then down here I've been potting on and dividing, as I say, stuff from the garden. And like rutabaga. The rutabagas all get put in the garden when I get a space. I can see a couple of the David Austin roses are like obviously stretching for the light. I've took some cuttings off them. I've got 3, but I'm going to definitely cut these white daisy things, take a lot of them out, and a lot of the stuff I'll just divide. And I can't remember what this is called. I just think it's a rutabaga, but it's not. I've been trying to get this in my garden for ages because I love it. It's really bra. And in here, I've just been making this wee area with the seat, and decided just to put a lot of plants at the back. And I've picked up this wee table, the Buckhaven Bargains, and I've spray painted it, and it's pretty smart for just sitting here for a glass of juice or that. And this is a flower we got down at the show, and it's a, I said it's hardy, but I will be taking it in. I won't be leaving it out here. Sort of trumpets on it, it's really nice. And those are other wee ones. I say they're hardy as well, but everything we're getting put into the polytunnel or the greenhouse. And that other hydrangea here, down here, the sunflowers are, I'm looking at that sky because it's like it's going to rain. But I've got the lobelia in there as well, the different kinds. And I cut back, I took a lot of cuttings off that rose, and it's now got thorns on it, which is quite good, and it'll come again. It's coming again now. And the hollyhocks, I've been saving the seeds from hitting, they grow no problem. And that was a wee mushroom that Gavin picked me up. I'm frightened for it getting blown off and getting broken, but it's quite thick glass. You see, delphinium's kind of going over, and there's a couple of nice dahlias in there. A couple of nice dahlias still coming out here, and a couple of buds on them. And I grow all the dahlias from seed, they're pretty easy to grow. Another Angel's Trumpet, which survived a bit of slug damage, but still getting pretty much eaten. And the dahlias will just get lifted, kept in the pots like I did last year, and put into the greenhouse, and the majority of them survived, so we'll just go with that, the begonia, and that'll get put in the greenhouse. And then I grew a lot of buddleia from seed, so that's down there, and that will get past some at the work and whatever. But and then this was Gavin got this. We have got a cottage garden, but he's always fancied one of these, so at the show he treated himself to the fern, the tree fern, and he's planted it there, and hopefully it doesn't grow too big. And he got that nice pot which you brought, and that was some more of the grasses I managed to split into a few plants, so they'll get planted in the garden next year. It's easier just to keep the stuff in the pots just now, and then when the spaces, when everything dies back, I'll fill stuff into the spaces. The dahlias down here are mostly going over now, but I think they were Bishop's Children, and they were from last year, those ones. Some more just bits and sods down here, and more Angelica there. So I've got, it's a biannual, so it'll flower next year. I grew it this year, it'll flower next year. And this Nerine, I think I've had it for 3 years, and this is the first time it's ever flowered, so that's good. And in here, well, what can I say? It's been cleaned out. I picked up a, was it a nectarine? A nectarine tree, like reduced in Morrison's. So I've got that and a fig tree, so I'm quite pleased. And these are some rose cuttings of all the different roses I've got in the garden. So hopefully, even if you get one out every pot, it saves you. And that's, I just planted them hollyhock from the yellow one. We've got at a show, and they're up already. And these are a pink one. But the rest of the seeds are pretty slow. I've done more hollyhocks and foxglove and delphiniums because they're biannuals. I usually try and do them at this time of the year. As I say, this will get all cleared out. This was supposed to be a white melon, but to me it just looks like that lemon cucumber thing I've grown before, but I didn't really like it. The chilies are really disappointing, so we'll not even really go there with the chilies. But got these couple of bamboos here going up the garden a bit, so I've potted them on, and they'll go up for a wee bit up the garden for a wee bit of screening up there. And these dahlias are pretty. The big yellow one. Gavin's emptied out all his tomatoes, and a lot of the stuff's starting to go over, but I've still got quite a bit of colour. And Gavin's busy. What are you doing, Gavin? In the shed. Hello, oh, you've got music on, get it up. From my wee sewing area. Look at Gavin, he's put cups on my sewing area. He's making these little boxes, so he's made one for me. And then he's done me another pink one down there, and I've got all my garlic. Yes, got all my garlic in there. And I've never used the sewing machine yet since it's been down here, but at least it's set up. It's set up and ready to go, and I stole the space in Gavin's shed. He's making these little boxes. He's made. I'll just quickly show you how brought there. All got for the potatoes and.
Got potatoes in this one.
The crops from the show. For the show.
Oh, not very many shallots in there.
I keep calling them tomatoes. Potatoes were, well, I dug mine, were pretty not very good, but I don't really like them anyway, potatoes, so I'm not that bothered. And I've been doing these, picked these up, and I've spray painted them, and I've done one up, it's up in the house. They'll go outside, and I'll put the wee string of lights inside them, and they'll get hung up, but I've run out of brackets, and that's just my wee sewing area. And there's not really much happening. That's another grass that we got at the show, and that's, oh, I nearly fell over there, keep falling into that, but we need to tidy up that bank, and we'll get the hydroponics back on, but we're going to put them in the polytunnel. So, and in here, kind of using this as a workshop at the minute. Gavin's lemon tree, I don't know, it's flowering, but I don't know what that means, to be honest. If it's flowering, but the chilies in here are pretty. But we've had loads of cucumbers. We've not really had, I haven't tried them myself, to be honest, this year. And this is a fig tree I got for £4.50 or something, what a bargain, from Morrison's. And the last of the tomatoes really are like, I'll be clearing a lot of them out. The chilies are, as I say, been pretty disappointing. I've got a couple of aubergines there, but they'll be getting, I've not got time for them to grow now. And I got these obeluses in Homebase for £5 each, and they were the brown wooden, so I'm in the middle of painting them cream, and they're going to go up the garden a wee bit. So basically that's the garden at the minute, and a wee update. So it's just a case of emptying stuff out and finding space and moving stuff around, which we spend most of our time doing, don't we? Moving stuff around. Oh, I never showed the green man, Gavin. And this was, it's actually went a different colour since we got it, is it not? Well, you're not going to maybe see that very good because the sun's shining on it. Gavin bought this at the show from a sculptor person, and I think it has changed colour since we got it. It's not very easy to see that actually because the sun's shining on it, Gavin. But you can sort of get a wee bit see of it. So it's quite nice because it glistens and it'll change colour, but the leaves seemingly stay the same colour. But I've got a few green men over the place. Didn't help us much with our chilies, but and I've got these wee pictures, I've just put them up, they're just little pictures of flowers. So that's basically the garden. As I say, a lot of stuff will get moved on and planted out once stuff dies back, and I've still not made the cushions for that seat yet, and I've picked up some trellis for to make for the rose on the back up there. I've got a couple of climbing roses up there, so I'll get that. But it's the usual lack of space, or maybe we grow too much, I don't know. Gavin will say we grow too much, but can you ever have enough? I don't know. But that's all from just now, and thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye bye.